What's going on, everybody? It's Davey from the 80s, and you are now in the Cinema Chop Shop. I am recently went through some channel changes, and I changed the name of the channel, and I'm just going to be using the good, the bad, and the atrocious as a outline of how I'm going to conduct my reviews. I'll probably also make a playlist for it, and we'll just go about it like that. So, welcome to the new channel, or at least the new name for the channel. And today we're going to be looking at a cult classic film by the name of The Lift. This movie is a Dutch film from 1983. It's directed by Dick Maas. And also, he also created a remake of this movie in 2001, and it's for an American audience. Now, this movie was originally filmed in Dutch, but when it was released over here, it was dubbed over. And I'm going to talk a little bit more about that when we get there. All right, so what's this movie essentially about? The Lift. What is it about? It's about a elevator that for some reason is killing people. So the synopsis of the film is like this. This man gets a call, or the company gets a call, because this elevator has been apparently malfunctioning and killing people, or almost killing people, right? So the mechanic comes out and he's checking on the elevator, but he finds nothing wrong with it. So this leads to the events later on in the story where more and more people are getting hurt by this elevator, and yet he's finding nothing wrong with it. So he's going into this investigation of why this elevator is doing this. It's also important to note that the night that the elevator first started going haywire, there was a crazy storm. And, you know, at first he's thinking like maybe this has something to do with it, but there's no evidence to prove that there's any imminent damage to the elevator that proves this theory. So why is this elevator killing people? And this whole movie is kind of like a mystery, trying to figure out what's going on with this elevator and why it's killing people. I know this sounds very familiar. It probably reminds you of the movie Devil, but honestly, they're two different films. So let's look into it. I've never actually seen the 2001 version of this movie, Down. I've actually barely heard about this movie, and the only reason I heard about it is because I recently ran into it on the Shudder app. And the only reason I ran into this was because I watched Amsterdam, which is another movie directed by Dick Maas, right? And that movie's interesting, and I also plan on eventually covering that as well. So let's get into it. What's the good in this movie? Okay, so what's the good? Honestly, this movie, the storyline is pretty interesting. I kind of like the direction that they went as far as the reasoning behind what's going on with this elevator. Now, I'm not going to obviously tell you what's going on because that will spoil the movie, but to me, I think the reasoning behind it makes sense. Okay? The kills, the kills in this movie are absolutely amazing. They're funny at times, but at the same time, it's pretty believable. What else is good about this movie? Like I said, the storyline is pretty fluid. The way that they paced it was pretty decent. The killings were awesome. That honestly made this movie really, really watchable. Because if the killings weren't in this movie, and it was like one of those movies where they pan away, or you just kind of see what happens afterwards, I honestly wouldn't have found this movie as entertaining. But the killings made it that much entertaining. What else? Let's move on to the bad. What's bad about this movie? Now I'm going to save that for the last part. What's the bad in this film? Honestly, some of the characters kind of come off as kind of quirky and dorky. I don't know if it's because of this movie was dubbed, but their body language kind of shows, I don't know, it's like this quirkiness to it, and I'm not really, it seems kind of dweeby. I honestly want to watch this movie. I want to watch this movie, but I want to watch the Dutch version with subtitles to see if it kind of lines up differently than the American version. Because in the American version, they dub things over and they might use a word that's similar but not the same word. So it might come off as really stupid. Also, if this is a 1980s movie, if I've learned anything from Godzilla, I've learned that the freaking dubs are sometimes really, really bad. They aren't, especially if it's depending on who does the dub. So the me probably watching the original in Dutch with subtitles will probably change my mind about the way that these actors are. Also, hearing the actors' original voices might be way better than hearing, because sometimes it doesn't. The fact that it's dubbed doesn't make it feel like it's like the voices don't line up. Which, you know what? I'm just go ahead and go into it. Let's talk about the atrocious. All right, so the atrocious. The atrocious, honestly, to me, is the dub. The fact that it's dubbed, the dub is kind of bad. I don't know if it's the wording. They picked the correct wording. The people that they picked to dub it don't line up with the characters. Like, they don't sound like they would be that character. Now, if it honestly turns out to be like that was that character's and that was their American voice and that's their English, then I guess. But honestly, it just doesn't seem like it adds up correctly. Like, the timing seems off. But I already know that it was dubbed, so the timing is going to be off because, you know, they're speaking Dutch or whatever they're speaking, and they're speaking Dutch, and the dub is obviously in English, so the timing isn't going to be all perfect. But good lord, the timing is off like crazy. Um, Really, that's my only biggest complaint about it. The dubbing process of it did not come out very well. As far as the film, it's entertaining as a whole. I really enjoyed the storyline that they went with because, like, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and spoil this movie. So I'm gonna give you 10 seconds if you don't want to be spoiled to get the hell out of here. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Forget it. Anyway, so the biggest reason why I like this movie is because the reasoning behind why the elevator kills people. Now, a lot of people, when I first watched it, I thought it was going to be like a possessed movie. Oh, the elevator's possessed by some spirit or some shit. Doesn't turn out to be that at all. Apparently, this company was manufacturing some technology, and they got so good at it that they created this technology that was kind of organic, as in it develops and it changes over time, right? So apparently they installed this technology or this chip or whatever it is into this elevator, and through time it evolved and it adapted. So it's a organ, or it's like it's an organic computer in a way. So it literally has like flesh in a like it literally has flesh. So at the end of the movie, like, the way they killed the elevator is because they shoot the chip, but the chip has like this fleshy outside layer, and they shoot it and stab it and beat it, and eventually it dies, right? But not before it hangs somebody. That was pretty dope. The guy comes and he shoots the organic flesh or whatever of the chip, and then he's like, it's over. And I don't know where the freaking cables from the elevator come down and wrap around his neck and then yank him into the shaft and hang him to death. That was a tight ending. That was pretty dope. It was kind of unexpected too. But so I like that explanation for why the elevator does what it does. Like, it's easy to be like, oh, the elevator's possessed. Boom, that's it, right? But for them to actually come up with the idea that there was this organic, like this advanced technology of this organic chip that actually evolves and changes with time, I thought that was pretty interesting. I really, really thought that was a cool idea, right? So if I had to give this movie a grade, uh, me being a horror fan, I guess I give you guys the bias. You know, the bias grade and the actual grade, they're not that far apart. But you know what? I'll just give you my grade and all. Honestly, I enjoyed this movie a lot. I would give this movie a 4 out of 5, in my opinion. I feel like a lot of you guys, if you watch it, you might feel like it's average, and you might give it a 3 out of 5. I mean, that's okay. But me personally, I enjoyed it. I give it a 4 out of 5. It's very watchable. This director came up with another movie called Amsterdam. That movie too is awesome as hell. It has a very good to me, it has a very unique slasher in it, or a character, antagonist, protagonist, villain, whatever you want to call it. That movie, Amsterdam, has a very good villain or in that movie, right? This movie, it was pretty interesting that the villain in this movie was a damn elevator. So whenever you get a chance, watch the lift, or Die Lift as it's known in Dutch. Die Lift. It sounds Jamaican. Um, Whenever you get a chance, go ahead and check it out. It's on the Shudder app. Hopefully it's still there. Me, personally, I actually like this movie so much that I purchased it on Blu-ray. But Best Buy is taking forever and their customer service sucks ass, so I'm still waiting for that. Now, so welcome to the new channel, the Cinema Chop Shop. It's Davey from the 80s, and you guys are welcome to my channel anytime. Hit that like button and subscribe, and come back for some more fire content. Adios.